You're watching Fugitive Red-Eye, and today, Rabid Waffles, who's the newest member of Team Red-Eye here, we're going to be talking about horror games. So I'm just going to start it off right now with one of my favorite horror games, Call of Cthulhu Dark Corners of the Earth. It's a game I've been playing on stream a lot lately, and I've really enjoyed it. I think my favorite thing is that Jack is an annoying character, and it's funny to yell at him. What do you think?
I think the beginning of the game is way too boring, but when it starts getting to the good stuff, it starts to get really good. The monsters look great, but overall the monsters are great. It's got like a big cult part to it, and I've never been interested in cults. I find the idea of cults kind of dumb, but after you get used to it, it's kind of cool. The homeless guy was my favorite character, and I just found out he died.
I know.
Never actually paid. He died.
I know, it's so sad. Top 10 anime deaths. But I also think that that game has taught me a very valuable life lesson, which I've implemented into the channel bio. That anytime you feel down, all you really need is a sturdy-looking metal bar.
Wow, a sturdy metal bar.
All right.
A sturdy looking metal bar.
What game you want to bring up? We'll back and forth like this. I'll bring up a game, then you bring up a game.
It's gonna be very stereotypical, and I probably annoy you with this. Silent Hill 2. It's an annoying option for me to choose because I'm always freaking talking about that game, but it's such a great, memorable game.
Oh yeah, it is. I love that game.
It's for people that are really good at puzzles, who really like action horror games, and the angles are really annoying at sometimes.
Right. Yeah, I would.
But the game is really meaningful, and it talks about this guy. It's horror, and it's also really sad. Horror. I can't sound normal saying that word. The main character in it, he is trying to find his wife in Silent Hill, and she says that she's in their favorite place. So he's exploring all of Silent Hill, meeting new, cool, interesting, annoying as hell characters, and then he comes to this hotel, I think it was, where he eventually actually finds her, and he finds out that she was actually dead, and he finds this sort of spirit of her, who may or may not be real. And he talks to her, and this is what happened to me. This is what happened to my first time, because there's multiple endings.
Uh-huh.
But he apologized for what he did, and he admitted that he killed her because he hated her, but at the same time he loved her, because he hated her in a lot of ways, and he couldn't stand being around her anymore because of how sick she was. So he killed her, and he also did it because he didn't want to see her like that. And he feels really happened. And she says it's okay, and she says it's all right.
Mm.
And then she just dies again, and he kills himself. He puts her into his car. He drives into the water and kills himself because he can't stand being without her anymore. A game to play when you're depressed.
All right, well, thank you for spoiling the ending for me, Rabid Waffles, but anyway, like you said, there are multiple, so...
Yeah, that's not the main ending, though. There's the ending you're more likely to get.
Okay.
You only get that ending... The only way you get that ending is if you find this girl who's your love interest, and you basically hit her a lot, and you just pay no attention to her, and you keep looking at pictures of your wife, and you don't get tempted to fall in love with her, then that's the ending you get.
Okay. Question, do you play the HD remake or the original version of that?
I've played both. The HD remake it's not really a remake, it's just it in HD.
Right, that's what I mean.
It's really, they ruined it though.
Did they?
They really ruined the feeling it had, because now you can see where you're going, because you can actually see through the smoke.
Right.
It does the feeling of creepiness, because they take out the weird noises.
Oh,
do they? They take out a lot of weird noises that the game jumps out at you to scare you. But the one I have has both discs, the original one and the one that's in HD. The original one was really fun.
Okay, well, I have the HD one, and that's the only version I have, so... I mean, I plan on...
Does it come with the original one?
It might. They might both be on the same disc. I had the Xbox 360 version, so I don't know. And now a word from our non-sponsor, because nobody sponsors us, but fuck it.
Try some Coca-Cola. It's the best. Go to your store and buy it.
All right.
Good.
Again, not sponsored, but yeah. So, as we were saying, Silent Hill...
I'm just an addict. I'm just an addict.
Yeah, there you go. He's a Coke addict.
I can't stop doing the Coke, man.
But, yeah, as I was...
Keep giving it to me.
He's a cokehead junkie. You chose Silent Hill 2 first. I'm gonna come in next with The Suffering. You ever played it?
Mm-mm.
It's a great game.
Tell me.
I gotta find my copy of it. Basically, it's this game where you play as this guy who's in this prison that gets attacked by these monsters that just come out of nowhere and start killing everyone. And, you actually get the ability to turn into a monster to help fight them. And you can make good or evil choices in the game, and whatever choices you make will determine the ending. You're locked up for your wife's death, and if you're evil, it turns out you're the one who killed her. If you're good, it turns out someone else killed her, and if you're neutral, it turns out you killed her by accident. It's pretty cool, and it's actually really atmospheric, and there's actually a sequel to it as well. I love both the games. The first one is the only one I beat, though.
Doom 3.
Okay, yeah, I love Doom 3. My introduction to the Doom series, actually, and possibly my favorite Doom game, honestly.
The only ones I've played are 1, 2, and 3. I haven't played the final one.
The new one's really good, too, but it's a lot more, like, action-based. They were going more for the Doom 1 and 2 feel than the Doom 3 feel. And they made it a lot more gory, kind of like brutal Doom. So yeah, Doom 3, like I said, is possibly my favorite game in the Doom series, just because they went full-on horror with it, whereas the other two were more action-based. There was still a horror element, but they were more action. And Doom...
I wish Doom 3 was more gory, though.
Yeah, that's true. If gore is something you're really going for in it, the newest Doom is probably the goriest.
I liked how it actually tried to be scary.
Anyway, continue. You liked how Doom 3 tried to be scary, and then what else were you saying?
The Coke spilled.
Yes. That's my favorite part of Doom 3 as well.
Wait, what do I... Yeah, the Coke spills. That part, man. You shouldn't have put the Mentos in there. It just goes to show, Mentos and Diet Coke does not equal good or better soda.
You know, Diet Pepsi tastes like window cleaner.
Diet Coke, I didn't think it was as good as regular Coke, but it's okay. Yeah. I don't like any Pepsi products. I don't like Pepsi.
No, not even Mountain Dew.
Dr. Pepper, is that a Pepsi? I don't know.
Dr. Pepper is Coke and Pepsi. It's a bit weird. It's in this state of limbo, and I'm leaving this in because this is totally relevant to the horror games, but...
Yeah.
Anyway...
I get it. I can't think.
Yeah, you were talking about Doom 3, and how it tried to be scary.
All the Coke.
Yes.
Doom 3 had a lot more creepy atmosphere than Doom 2.
Uh-huh.
It just felt more like a horror game, while the first one was just sort of a first-person shooter with big monsters and lots of gore.
Right. And that's
by itself, but I like more scary games.
Yeah. So, yes, anything else you'd like to add? Have you played any of the Doom 3 add-ons, like Resurrection of Evil or The Lost Missions?
I don't believe so.
They're on the BFG edition of the game on the 360 and PS3.
Oh, that's the one. I used that before, but I don't use it anymore. I usually, I had Doom 3 before and I played it, but I don't have it anymore.
Well, the original version of Doom 3 is more atmospheric because the flashlight isn't attached to your armor, so you can't have a gun and a flashlight out at the same time. Whereas in the BFG edition, they put the flashlight on your armor so you can use them and the gun at the same time. Which, I mean, makes more sense on a practical level, but it makes it slightly less creepy.
My favorite gun is the BFG.
Oh, yeah? Oh, that reminds me, backtracking a little bit, when I was talking about The Suffering, there's a secret gun you can get in that game called the Gonzo gun, that you hold the chicken up and shoot eggs out of its ass. It's the weirdest hidden gun I've ever seen, and it's a serious game, too. And it kills everything in one hit, even bosses.
Okay, interesting morbid fact about Doom is the two Columbine shooters.
Oh yeah, Eric Harris and those guys, yeah.
They said that the shooting the place up was going to be a lot like Doom.
Yeah, I remember that. And then Jack Thompson, this activist, I'm using air quotes, which you won't see because I'm not recording video, but he tried to blame the whole Columbine shooting on Doom, which I think is fucking retarded, but...
But they blamed the weirdest things. They like banned, in some areas, like, You couldn't have trench coats. There was the whole Marilyn Manson's the reason and Doom's the reason.
Right. Yeah, it was a moral panic, and it was kind of dumb, honestly. Like, anytime a tragedy happens, people try to exploit it to push their agenda.
The movie Not Ashamed.
I haven't seen that. I'm not familiar.
It's a Christian movie about Columbine, which probably explains why you have weirdly. It's about the first girl that died. It was a really big Christian that...
Oh, that Rachel Scott chick, yeah, with the Rachel's Challenge thing. Yeah, I remember that.
And it said that before the guy killed her, he said, "Do you still believe in God?"
Yeah.
She said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, go to him."
Yeah.
I don't think that really happened because a lot of the people there said that never happened.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, a lot of things try to over-dramatize things. I'm going to backtrack a bit, though, because I do want to keep this a little bit more lighthearted, but those are excellent points. All right, I'm going to bring up the next game here. We're going to talk about Fear. You ever played Fear?
Is that the... Didn't you play that game in a live stream?
No, I haven't. Fear is this game...
I've heard of it.
It's a first-person shooter where you're part of this team called First Encounter Assault Recon. And basically the point of the game is there's these ghosts all around and they're attacking this base. And you have to go around and try and stop it. There's also soldiers and stuff you fight, but there's this ghost girl named Alma that you follow throughout the game that's creepy as hell. So yeah, Fear is a really good game. In Fear 2, you find out that Alma actually died while giving childbirth. And the little girl version of her is just one appearance. There's also a pregnant woman version. And there's like a whole maternity ward level. Fear 1 is a lot more creepy than Fear 2 or 3, because Fear 2 or 3, they tried to be more action-oriented.
I hear things about that game, but I've never, actually heard anybody say anything about it. I've heard the...
Maybe when I find my flash drive, I'll do some playthroughs of Fear. I did Fear. I guess it's your go now. What game you want to talk about?
Do you like Walking Dead?
I used to like the show. I hate it now.
The game.
The game? Like the Telltale game?
Have you played the game?
The Telltale game? Yeah, I love those games. I love Telltale. Walking Dead was my introduction to it, obviously. I love Telltale, though, so all their games are fun. At least as far as I've played. I don't have any interest in Minecraft, though.
I like Telltale game. Walking Dead. The choices of Walking Dead were really good.
Mm-hmm.
But no matter what, if you have to do nothing but what Kenny wants you to do for him to be friends with you throughout the entire game. You disagree with him once, and he'll hate you for the rest of the game, and he won't let you on the boat.
I know.
You freaking jerk.
I love Kenny,
but
though.
I agree with everything except for the part where he wants me to kill the old guy. I don't agree with him on there.
Right. Yeah, I know.
I didn't want to kill. It forces me to have to help him.
Right.
I try to be friends with the girl too. The Larry's daughter.
Uh-huh.
I think her name's Lily.
Yeah.
But I can't be friends with her because I try to get to be friends with Kenny so me and him could be pals. Second game, if you're not friends with Kenny, does he say bad things to you to Clementine?
No.
Like, does he say bad things about Lee?
As far as I know, he's always cool to you in the second game.
Is he feel bad for what he did or something?
I'm not sure. Like, they don't make a lot of references to the first game. That's my one problem with Telltale, is some of the stuff carries over, but not everything does.
Like, they say, your choices in the first game mattered, and you can put them onto this game because they're very important.
I think, in my opinion, this is a spoiler, by the way, for The Wolf Among Us, for anyone who hasn't played that. I think one of the worst things in Telltale is the ending to The Wolf Among Us. There's a part where Toad either needs to get, what do they call it? He needs to get that magic stuff that makes him look human, or else he'll be put to the farm, which is like a prison. But no matter what you do, even if you give him the money to get the glamour, he still has to go to the farm, no matter what. Even if you give him the money, they just, it really pissed me off. So is there any more games you want to talk about, or, how long you want to keep this going?
We've only talked about a couple games. I
Want to get a few more in?
I'm trying to think of a good scary game I like. It's pretty cliche, but what about Five Nights at Freddy's? You probably don't like that game.
I do not. I hate that game, dude.
There's only two of them I really liked, which was the third one, and I also liked the fifth one, Sister Location, because the final one actually felt like a sci-fi horror to me.
See,
It was actually really interesting, and it had a lot more to do with story than it did with the jump scares in that one.
Mm-hmm.
And they try to tell a story, but they always make it secretive and hard to understand, which I freaking hate, because I don't want to have to put that together, the puzzle. I want them to have more of a story, because he's capable of making a good story, but he doesn't actually put it into this game. He wants everyone else to guess it for him.
That brings me to my problems with the game, okay? I have two main problems. Number one, the gameplay is super boring. In most of them, you can't even move.
It's just wait, jump scare, wait.
Exactly.
Wait, game, wait, jump scare, wait. It makes you wait so long, and all you're waiting for is to jump scare or to win the game. All it is just sitting down.
Right, exactly. And then my second problem is actually related to what you brought up, the story. I feel like the guy who makes those games is too lazy to make a story, so he lets the fans come up with it, and then he's just like, oh yeah, that's totally what the story is.
He actually planned on the story being what they guess it is. Because even in some videos, he said, the ending, the meaning of the game is actually pretty, it's not what you're expecting. And somebody says, like, yeah, that's it. Bingo.
Exactly. He just canonizes whatever the fans say, and I don't like that.
What game should be brought up?
Well, here's one. One that I kind of liked when it first came out, but then I got sick of it, and there became a bunch of clones. Slender. I originally liked it, but it just got so oversaturated I got sick of it.
I liked the idea of Slender when it first came out. Slender Man.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought he looked cool.
Right.
The no face, the... But I don't find him scary. If anything, I just think he looks interesting, and I think he's, like, sort of this monster that sort of reminds me of something Lovecraftian. He looks neat, but not something I'd actually be scared of.
Yeah, he is kind of Lovecraftian in some ways.
When I imagine things scary, I imagine, like, with a morbid face. Like, a decaying face. Not no face.
Right. There's...
My favorite Slenderman games, the first one, I thought was okay. But my favorite was, it now, but I think it was like Dr. Slenderman.
Is that like Dr. Mario?
Something like that. Slenderman's trying to get you to put all the pills together.
Yep.
You gotta get them germs away. And Dr. Slenderman or something.
Isn't it, Slenderman Hospice or something?
What?
Isn't it called, Hospice or something like that?
Wait. Slenderman's real name was supposed to be Dr. H.O. blah, 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 blah.
I've never heard H.O. blah, blah, blah.
Like, I know most of the words, but then there's, like, some letters in it that I don't know of. I think it's, like, another language, like German or something.
Oh, you mean Der Grofman?
It's supposed to be, like, Slenderman's real name.
Yeah, well, I think it's Der Grobman, which is, like, German for the tall man, or something like that.
I used to be so upset with the creepypasta movies, but holy crap, now we're getting tons of them.
Yeah. You know, honestly, you know what? I was gonna say, but what I do like is that Channel Zero show. Candle Cove, I liked everything except for the ending. Like, I didn't really like the ending.
I watched the first couple episodes. Like, first 5 episodes.
Uh-huh.
The show didn't interest me after that.
Well, there was only 6 episodes, so...
Oh, okay, so I didn't miss much.
Yeah. The ending is really what killed it for me, because he, like, goes inside Candle Cove, and, like, it turns out his brother was the cause of it, because his brother was a murderer. It's really fucking dumb.
But I want to see No One House so bad, because that's my favorite creepypasta.
You know, they've actually already started that, but I haven't seen any of the episodes yet.
I just love the No One House story.
Yeah, it's my favorite creepypasta, honestly.
I mean, freak me out. Like, you think that you've escaped, but you really haven't, or you have to cut yourself to get them.
Right. Yeah, No End House actually genuinely interested me.
There's a lot of really great ideas.
Yeah.
All on you that you can't see, or you can't hear them, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I also recently... I don't know if this is made by Creeps Mick Pasta or Mr. Creepypasta. It was made by one of them, I think. I don't think it was one that was written by I think it was written by one of them.
Okay.
It was about Quitting. It was called Quitting. Have you seen that?
I'm not sure. What's it about?
This guy who's a smoker, he goes to the doctor and he tries to help stop smoking. And this girl who talks to him, who's really annoying and a complete jerk, she says, okay, just wait for him to tell you can come in. And it says, hey, you can come in now. So he walks in, and the doctor does a lot of weird stuff the guy doesn't understand, but he tells him to try these pills.
Uh-huh.
And he needs to take the pills every single day while smoking. and at the end of like the week he should be good, or at the end of several weeks of the month or something. I don't remember how long it was, but by then he should be fine and he should be stopped. He should be okay, and he should be addicted anymore. So he goes out and he starts taking them, and he notices that his arm is slowly turning gray, and there's like red rings around his arm. And the guy keeps visiting his house once a day, like he said he was going to do. I didn't tell you said he that, but he comes once a day, the doctor.
Uh-huh.
He said, "Oh, you're taking the cigarettes. Nice. Taking the pills. Oh, cheerio."
Did he actually say cheerio?
Like, yep, taking them. Weirdo. But his wife says that when he goes out there, he doesn't see anyone.
Uh-huh.
One day, the cop comes over and says, "Hey, some doctor died the day you went there. Know what that's about?" It's like, "I don't know anything, but there's a weird doctor that keeps telling me to smoke while taking these pills." And they're like, "Oh, okay. What's his name? Blah, 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 blah. That's his name." And then they go out, and then they come back a couple of days later. It's like, that wasn't his name. His wife leaves him because he's getting his vixen, kinda, and he just keeps taking the cigarettes because now he's addicted to the pills. Like, he just smokes. Like, he always makes up an excuse that he has to smoke, but he just wants the pills. And the doctor comes over and he says, "What's wrong with me? Why do I keep taking these? I don't want to do it anymore. I'm telling on you because you're a meanie McSqueenie." And
I'm sure
says,
that was the exact
Let me
line.
see your arm. He says, "Oh, why not? I'm only angry at you. Here, look at my arm." And then he just taps his arm and it turns into dust and falls on the ground.
Yeah.
And he's upset, so he scoops it up and he's trying to put it back on. He's like, "You monster, that was my arm." He's putting it on. He's like, "No." And the doctor says, "I'll fix your problem. You just keep taking those pills." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm chill with that. Goodbye." So he keeps taking them, and then the ending was terrible. He's a cigarette man that's really good at killing. He's going around killing people because the pills have taken over. I didn't like the ending. It was stupid. But the first half really was interesting, and the character actually seemed like he had more personality than the creepypasta character that I usually see. It was good in the beginning, but the ending was terrible because he became a murderous monster, sort of. It was stupid.
Something I feel, I've done a video about this in the past, but one thing that I want to see is a really good horror anime. But it's something that I feel almost never gets done right. Like, it usually starts out really good, but then it loses its edge.
It becomes... I like to watch horror animes, but I see that they slowly turn into actions.
Exactly. I don't want
an action, I want a horror.
Right,
I like what you're doing first.
You ever seen Higurashi When They Cry, or Higurashi no Nakakoroni? I
probably have. I used to watch I watched Toonami.
Uh-huh.
Every weekend, they always had anime horrors as well as actions and stuff like that. And I just watched whatever, and I noticed that the show started actions.
Right. Well, I don't think Higurashi was ever on Toonami. Basically, it's this show about this remote village and this one guy there named Keiichi. And basically, he's an outsider that recently moved to the village. And his friends start acting really weird, and he finds out there was this murder there in the past. And he finds out that there's been like a series of murders every year around the time of this cotton drifting festival. And like nobody will tell him about it, and he's starting to get suspicious. And then his friends start acting really creepy and stalking him, and like one of them tries to kill him by putting a bunch of needles in some food she gives him. And like they deny trying to kill him or anything, and anytime he talks to them, they act normal. But then they'll act really weird the next day or at night. And it's really creepy for the first 6 episodes. They scared the hell out of me. Like, it was the first time in an anime I genuinely thought it was creepy. But then after that, the mild spoiler here, and I say mild even though it sounds like a major spoiler, it's really not. The main character, he beats his friends to death with a baseball bat, and then he gets killed. And then the next episode, time resets. And people die, like, it goes through and time keeps resetting and people keep dying. And they explain it in the second season why time's resetting and stuff, but I kind of wish they would have just stuck with the first arc and built it up a lot more.
Topic of animes, I know it's not really a horror, but it's kind of got elements of one.
Uh-huh.
Death Note, do you like it?
Oh yeah, Death Note is my second favorite overall anime.
I liked it at first, like, the last couple episodes, like, okay, first, it felt like it was horror, it was intelligent, and then slowly it got so many different things happening, and I couldn't tell what was going on. It was confusing, changing in the show. They kept on trying to put in new ideas, and they kept on trying to compete, and then, like, the weird in the end of it, and I didn't get why they had sped it in the end.
I don't know.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like you mean how it went from being all, like, I'm very familiar with the show. It's what actually got me into anime in the first place. Like, you mean after the first half, like, after episode 17, where it gets to the whole, like, there's, the Yotsuba group, and there's L's successors and all that stuff? Yeah, I get what you're saying.
That part felt rushed.
Mm-hmm.
It felt rushed, and it tried too hard, and it didn't work. I just didn't think it was a good ending to the show. It wasn't a good ending.
You ever seen Elfen Lied?
I really liked the beginning. What?
Yeah, you ever seen Elfen Lied?
That?
It's an anime, like this one, if you like gore, this is a good anime for that. Like, it's actually my favorite anime, Elfen Lied is. It's about this girl that's a mutant called the Diclonius, and basically she's like the next evolution in human evolution, and basically she escapes from this facility where she's being held, and she hates people. Like, she wants to kill all of humanity, and she loses her memory and ends up with these two teenagers who are kind of helping her out and trying to take care of her, and she becomes friends with them. But she's actually like this merciless killer, and she has these invisible arms called the vectors that she can slice people up into little pieces. It's really good, because like, her alternate personality when she doesn't have her memory is super sweet and super nice, but when she's actually herself, she's like one of the most murderous characters I've ever seen in anything. You should look it up. It's on Hulu. It's Elfen Lied, but it's spelled Elfen Lied, like Lied. I definitely recommend Elfen Lied if you can ever get around to watching it. It's my favorite anime. It definitely has some horror elements, but it's a lot more, it's a lot of different things. It's kind of complex. Like I said, it's also really, really gory, and it has a lot of nudity and sexual stuff in it, too.
Have you ever seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2?
No, I've only seen the first one.
Not the remake 2, but the original. In Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, it's not a freaking legit scary movie. It's a horror comedy. Because the first one tried to surprise people by being, well, disturbing, and then it had the fly on the wall feel, and it was different. So they wanted to make another sequel, but they didn't want it to be like the first one. They wanted it to be different too. Where Leatherface is more goofier in this one, and they have this dead guy named Nubbins who Leatherface straps to his chest and starts shaking his chainsaw around, making it look like the corpse is holding it to scare these two guys who are goofing around in a truck prank calling. And he starts chainsawing their door, and everything gets caught in the radio. So the group of the family, they try to get revenge on the news reporter because they don't like that she aired it a second time, because there's this sheriff whose son was Franklin from the first movie, the guy who was killed. Mm-hmm. Is trying to get revenge on them for killing his son. So he's out trying to kill him. He don't like him kills. And he goes and he's saying he's doing it for a good cause. And he's just weird. He's shaking around, chopping a log with it, and this guy says, "Oh, my banana." I don't know what he's saying. Like, I don't get it.
Does he actually say banana?
He goes out and he's chopping all these things that destroying their house. What?
Does he actually say banana, or is that you paraphrasing?
He uses the word banana.
What the fuck?
I think that's what he's saying. It's what the guy says. But he's watching the guy chopping up a log, and he goes, oh, my banana. And I don't have any clue what he said, but it was weird.
All right, then. That's pretty good.
Let's ignore Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because I'm getting weird. Massacre's one of those movies that's so weird I can't talk about it right.
Okay.
I can't say anything about it right. So
Is
that
it?
can be the video.
Yeah, I think that's probably good, unless there's anything else you wanted to say.
So you've never played Bioshock?
I've played it very briefly. Like, I didn't play a lot of it. I played, like, maybe 5 minutes of it.
You didn't get into it?
It's not that. It's just, it wasn't my game. I played it at a friend's house.
I'm just asking you this because I want to know what you think of Bioshock.
I thought what I've played and seen of it was good.
Like, I don't know if it came out before or after Fallout, but for some reason it feels like they're ripping off Fallout.
I think it was after, because you gotta remember, there's actually been a lot of Fallout games. There's some older ones back on the PC that were like top-down view. But yeah, I think that probably about does it for today, man. This has been Fugitive Redeye and Rabbit Waffles, and you guys have a great rest of the day.
Subscribe to Fugitive Redeye.